we have a lot of exciting stuff happening here, and I'm excited to kind of share all of this stuff with you today. And so to kind of kick things off, I wanted to share that our proof of neutrality relay, the Ethereum's first PBS system, is now available in Testnet. And this is going to be an incentivized testnet, kind of the same idea where we distribute these NFTs, where people get this opportunity to get comfortable with the relay. They get to test it out and provide their feedback, and they also will get these NFTs. And Brandon here from our team, I'm not sure if you guys have met him before, but he is going to share a little demo of the product and what we can do, and we will kind of take it from there. Brandon, do you want to hop on and show off the PoN Relay dApp and explain a little bit of what's going on?
Yeah, sure. Just give me a sec to pull it up, and I'll share my screen.
So the PoN Relay, the reason we wanted to create it was that there has been a lot of research done on the idea of creating a PBS system for Ethereum. And what's so exciting about this and everything that we're doing with Blockswap is it's very complementary to the STAKEHOUSE protocol. So people can come in to STAKEHOUSE LSD networks. They can stake a validator with 4 ETH, which I know a few of you have done already. But now this is a protocol that kind of builds on that idea and says, okay, if we are going to give more people access to a larger amount of validators, well, we should give them a secure way to interact with each other and a secure relay for them to work with, and one that is credibly neutral and can't enforce or prevent any sort of block headers or blocks to enter the blockchain.
Yeah. So we have the relay dApp up right here. If you didn't already know what relays are, they're protocols that help validators, or also known as proposers, and block builders earn extra ETH, and they've become an integral part of the supply chain route that blocks pass through before going into the blockchain. So this decentralized relay actually has a unique part to it, which is the reporter. So the reporters are not necessarily new to DeFi. They're known as keepers in some protocols, but in this protocol, it'll be called a reporter. And reporters are important because they will monitor the actions of proposers and builders, and if there's any violations or wrongdoings, then they can report that, and the proposer or builder will be penalized, and then reporter will gain ETH for that. And since the payout pools that are supposed to pay the proposers likely missed out on some rewards because of the actions or the wrong actions of the parties that did something wrong, the payout pool will also get some of the reward from the reporters. So yeah, they really just ensure security and keep the protocol running integrally. And yeah, so this is kind of what the outline will look like. You'll have your reporter dashboard here where the rewards will go to, your builder rewards here, and then easily register as a proposer here, and you just drag and drop your key store file. And yeah, this is kind of how it should work. So yeah, we're super excited to be having this out, and also it's important to note the reporter should be the easiest thing to run for anyone, so no upfront capital required for that.
Great.
Just an extra way to earn ETH.
Thank you for sharing that, Brandon. Yeah, I'm super excited to see where this can go and how Ethereum community will rally around this and around the first PBS system. And especially all of these people who joined in the testnets previously. I think we had over 1,000 people, over 1,200 people who joined STAKEHOUSE, LSD Networks, Testnet, and now a lot of them are primed to be able to go in here and actually try out some of these features. So now we've talked about the PON, this is coming. We have the documentation, we have all of that. Now we can get into discussing a little bit about STAKEHOUSE. And STAKEHOUSE, as a lot of you are involved with already, is our product we brought to mainnet about a month ago. We have about 700,000 TVL locked. The silverback tier for BSN rewards emissions is closed, but that's okay because this GMI tier, which is coming, actually has the highest allocation of BSN rewards for people, and that goes out to 90 validators. So where I guess I wanted to give some updates is some of the community has been asking about Fren Delegation and how they can provide ETH to particular validators, to their friends' validators. And I know that, Andrew in our community, he came up with a very nice looking dApp that he's using as part of his network to bring people on. But our team has also put out a Fren Delegation app. It's available in Testnet, and I'll show you a little bit of what this looks like. And the reason I want to show this to you guys here is because within the next couple days, don't hold me to that. I'm not a developer. I can't tell you the exact timeline of this, but this will be going to mainnet, where anybody can go in and anybody can provide BLS keys to have people stake ETH into. So if I go here, this is the general dApp, and what people can do is they can take this BLS key, which is the validator key, and I'll show you how to get that here. Let me pull in another window. So what people can do, I'm on the Gorilla testnet here, is they have their validators available. These are all the ones. These are some that I have deposited the keys. I have not staked them yet. I have not sourced the liquidity. So what people can do is just grab this key, over here, paste the key, and well, it looks like I did source liquidity here, but it'll give you the amount of ETH available to be staked as a protected staker or an MEV staker. It gives you the node operator name, and it gives you the LSD network that it's in, so that you can confirm everything that was shared with you and make sure that it is a place that you want to stake your ETH. So if you guys have any questions about that, or if anybody has any questions, we have a few people on this call, but the mic is open. You're welcome to ask questions, and I might be a little aggressive with the mute if I have to be, just for a warning. But yeah, feel free to jump in. Okay, I see Andrew has a question here in the chat. He's asking where the node operator name comes from, and the node operators can go here, go into their. I should show that a little bit longer. They go into their Manage tab, and they can click on their stake position. And when they go to the monitoring for their things here, they can go to here, and they can change their node operator name. So I can change this to, anything I want. Node excitement. Right? It's limited to 10 characters, obviously. Let's I'll call it noder, and I can confirm here it's a transaction, and it brings the name and it changes the name of this node operator. I'm going to catch up on the chat here for a second and see if there's any questions. Yeah, so if somebody doesn't have friends to delegate to them, well, they can go through the general interface of STAKEHOUSE LSD networks, where people are able to stake as protected staking, they can stake as MEV staking, and the node operator can source this liquidity from these giant pools. So anybody can source the liquidity, and then any node operator can take that liquidity. It's not that people with friends go to the front. It's just if people have friends that want to have their ETH in a particular friend's validator or a particular friend's LSD network, they should be able to do that. And that's what this Fren Delegation is. But other than that, there are these public giant pools that anybody can join. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to chat with everybody about is the idea of this Zero ETH Club. And I'll give a kind of an idea of where this is and what's been shared with the DAO so far, and where it kind of looks like things could possibly head. And when we were chatting about this, I know people wanted to get involved with the conversation, so very open to having people's feedback here. But the idea of Zero ETH Club is that there are a lot of very good node operators out there who maybe don't have access to the liquidity that they need. Maybe they could help decentralize Ethereum if they had a little bit more ETH to work with. So this kind of goes along with the whole idea of us giving out 40 dApp nodes to decentralize Ethereum. We also want to give out ETH to quality node operators. And the way that the DAO has presented that this could work is people can put up applications. And I've had a few people message me on the side about this. But these applications will involve people sharing their experience with Ethereum, who they are, why they should be trusted to take on and be able to provide different validators to different people. And the structure of this can be that the DAO initially will accept proposals from anybody and everybody who wants to become a Zero ETH Club representative. And these representatives, once they're in, they form their own committee. This is the initial committee. Anybody else who wants to become a representative in the future will need to apply to this committee of people. But once they're in, the representative will be able to source liquidity for particular node operators that they whitelist in their particular LSD network that is whitelisted. And they will be responsible for making sure that these nodes are upheld and that these nodes are operating. If things start to get out of line, the representative is expected to step in, and they can start off with a simple contact of the node operator saying, hey, what's the issue here? If things aren't going well, they could just end up, say, ejecting that validator, saying this person isn't following our guidelines, this person hasn't set up and isn't paying out the fee recipient address as expected for this LSD network, so we need to get rid of him, and they can just eject the validator. So there's a little bit of trust in these representatives, But the whole idea of getting these representatives is to get people to actually help diversify Ethereum. Matt, did you want to add something here?
Yeah, thanks for that. So we're talking about the ZEC, right? Zero
Yes.
ETH Club.
Yeah.
Right. So Zero ETH Club, the basic structure is there will be another giant pool, just similar to protected staking and MEV staking. And this giant pool will allow anyone to, put money in for the node operator, like the 4 ETH bond, right? It's fractionalized. So, and that giant pool will manage only to the allowed list of the validators that has been um, basically watched by the council members. So the council members whitelist ECDSA address, the valid address, as node operators, someone who they know. So the whole concept came from, it's like about 2.5 years ago. There was a DAO. I don't know how many people actually knows this, called Signal DAO. Back in the day, like Moloch. So the concept was you will only get into the DAO if you know someone in the real world, right? So that's how you add it to the club. It was very small, a TG group. That was like a first experiment. Moloch, just how do you want to make it? So when we want to help people who want, a lot of people doesn't really have 4 ETH, but they are really good at hosting machines, especially from Latam and other parts of the world. We want to extend the capital sourcing to those people, but if they are really in line with Ethereum vision, most of the people are just providing the services, decentralized node runnings. If we want to get like more and more nodes from the home, so the way it is, like the council can vouch them. So the way the vouching happens is in Ethereum, it's in a wallet address. So every node operator, if you go to your portfolio, you have this, the connected wallet address, and you can actually put a username there. So this is really bringing a social, a trust score for your being a node operator, right? To all this connected smart wallet. So once your ECDC address has been whitelisted, you will be able to add BLS keys, just adding a validator key, and that will get into the list of this giant pool that I mentioned earlier, the node giant pool, and the node giant pool will supply for ETH to those BLS keys that has been put up by this whitelisted members. Again, the whitelisted members has to come through this. One of the council member has to put up their name, and this is the one of the major part that the DAO is asking is like, can we put a ZEC council, right? Initially, the council should be made up of few of the members who actually been providing value to Ethereum community, some capacity, like could be providing infrastructure services, like decentralized infrastructure solutions or security. Like they have some kind of skin in the game to keep this the whole staking. It's really a reputation that is, you can reuse it for the network, and then you can actually bring your community around it, and then let the world fund you the capital, and then you can grow. If it's successful, this will be one of the largest experiment that we can carry out, a kind of a public collaboration of creating this kind of true collectives. But again, if there is any problem with this ZEC club, is the node operators here are very under strict conditions. The reason is like the full capital is sourced from outsiders. The conditions are like, if there is any leakage that has been reported, like some leakage comes in, the DAO, the ZEC council can actually start rotating the node or ejecting the node using the CIP, right? But the person who has actually vouched, he can reach out to the member that they vouched it, what's happening. I mean, there could be some issues, right? So there could be some power issues and things like that. But if there is nothing there, then the validator will be ejected, and the money will actually goes to the LP holder. So to be very clear, not a single way from this contract can be taken by any other person apart from the LP holder. So the users who are depositing the money will get the money back, right, by the contract. This is very important. But you can actually get the node service, and you will get a portion of your accrual in ETH in MEV, and the fees that you are accruing, a portion will be go to the node operator. So in this way, a node operator has an unlimited number of validators you can add as long as you're running your node correctly. So you have like a very static constant and operational expenses, but if you're keeping it good, if you're good decentralized in a node runner, Vault can provide capital for you to add as many validators you want. If you're running a dApp node, you can have 1,000 validators on it, right? No problem.
Great. Thank you, Matt. I think that was a very elegant description of what the Zero ETH Club is and what it's trying to feature, where it's going. And if anybody has any questions or comments about the Zero ETH Club, feel free to share them now. And I'll just go through.
Derek, I have a
Yeah.
question. Is there any limited number of ZEC Council that in the initial phase?
So that hasn't been outlined yet. I think around 3 to 5 would be what's necessary to get things going, and from there the council can self-regulate themselves with the DAO kind of overseeing everything that they're doing.
Okay.
So what is a good place to kind of start is figuring out how do we qualify these people as sort of the next steps, who are good representatives, who will uphold the Ethereum network while upholding the best interests of the DAO, since this is a DAO initiative. And some of the set guidelines that have been thrown around so far, and we can work together to find a few others, but this person needs to have a name. They can't be anonymous, and or this needs to be an organization, and likely will be a person from a particular organization is a good place to start. We'll need them to share what their involvement is with ETH staking, and also have a validator staked in Stakehouse LSD networks. And that's to show that they have some skin in the game. They have an interest in the system beyond just looking to source these validators for Zero ETH. And that validator should be staked within the LSD network that they want to get whitelisted, and that they want people to have these Zero ETH validators in, so that they have a direct stake in what they're doing and what they need to be enforcing, because that way, if there's any misbehavior, it's also related to what they're doing as well. And from there, people should also include any other relevant information and sort of a pitch of why they want these validators, and who they are, and why they're the best people to run them.
I think one thing to note here, Zero ETH Club node operators will become a premium tier of node operators especially for the DeFi protocols. For example, like you have all this kind of yield protocols and treasuries and all kind of things. They want to hire node operators. They don't really have to think anything. Not think twice. Just send all this ETH to the giant pool of the node operators, and maybe staking and protected staking. Like just send this ETH. It all gets automatically flushed and come back as ETH and SETH, and they get all this revenue automatically coming back to the treasuries, right? So this is like a very interesting proposal, because you have this kind of a huge post Shanghai, the withdrawal comes in. There's a lot of interesting products that want to take exposure to the ETH staking yield, not only for staking, but also like keeping their ETH as a treasury in a productive manner. They can literally use this with some sort of fallback. They don't really have to go and look out for the staking service. This is like an automated SLA. They will get it, like, because nobody can actually take their money away. They can simply send it. Let it be lending protocols, let it be any of those DeFi protocols can simply send their ETH via smart contract action, and it just goes through it. It just it's a really good funnel.
So Grasp on Crypto, you actually bring up a really good question and a really interesting point. You're asking, if there's not enough ETH in these pools to cover 4 ETH, why is 0 ETH node operators so important, this 0 ETH club? And the reason is that this is a good opportunity for different protocols and different organizations to get involved with Stakehouse and get more people on a broader scale and get more attention on what is going on here. Because these 0 ETH club, yes, they have a separate giant pool for the MEV staking, because people might want access to collateralized slot tokens without running a node. But they also source ETH from the protected staking pool. So if people are, if we can get some more of these organizations on board and get some more exposure, it actually helps fill up these giant pools as well for other node operators. All right, so if people don't have any other questions or comments, you can always chime back in regards to the 0 ETH Club. We're always happy to talk about it. Otherwise, we'll Matt, do you have something else you want to add here?
No, so maybe we can touch the Fren Delegation if you want to, but also on the PoN, would like to add things will be open up. So it's very early now. The PoN Relay is based on Post Chapella. That's like Shanghai specification now. So in the Goerli that we are launching here, it's based on the latest spec. But if you want to run a relayer, this will get updated later today, and it's keep updating, like we doing a bunch of updates. If you want to add a relay, just open a PR, and there will be a standard, a template that what information that you need to, and then we will add that relayer information to the PoN. When the mainnet comes, there's a DAO and things like that. A sub DAO, like handling the whole PoN relay. But currently, just a PR in the GitHub will get you into the relayer list. And if you want to add a builder, check it out. Build a software, you can run a builder. This is the first implementation in the PBS MEV space with an auction, implemented auction, with a PBS involved. So there is no other PBS there, because there is no auction mechanism there. Everyone talks about it, but there's the first auction mechanism implemented, also with an encrypted mempool. So the builder, whatever that you're making, your strategies will never get to anyone else. It's all seamless. It's based on the latest specification of Ethereum, and validators can basically just use the relayer. I think currently we have only Blockswap, 0x Blockswap as a relayer, but as we add more and more relayer, people add it, and those relayer will also be available. Essentially what we want to have, like hundreds of relayers and thousands of builders to come in, and then tens of thousands of validators can join. Any validators can join, not only the Stakehouse, any other validators. We will also push some more information how the validators list and qualified validators list, but currently any validator can join with a 32 effective balance. It's really an interesting experiment from a MEV, and also coming with a smoothing pool, because smoothing pool is also very interesting, because there is no smoothing pool as such today exist, specifically for the MEV. This smoothing pool is very advanced. It's not only smoothing, but it also takes care of a reporter. It also takes care of the builders. It's a complete PBS based on a credible commitment scheme proposed by research group Barnaby. It's inspired from there. So there's like two elements. It's a huge system that we built out in the last 5 to 6 months. It's the audit is complete. Last 3 months the audit was going on. There's a further audit on the game theory which is going on. So it was super interesting system, but we want to see that how this actually going to work. It's truly innovative in a sense, not because we built it, but there's nobody has actually done the scale of things on the MEV, and it's programmable completely. So we can go on forever, but I just want to stop there on the PoN.
Yeah, we can always continue the conversation with anybody who wants to. We're always in the chats, always willing to talk about the products and what's going on. So the next piece that I wanted to talk with everybody is something that has been an ongoing discussion in the DAO channel, and that's around getting utility and demand for the dETH token. And there are a few ideas that have been presented, and happy to discuss any and all of those. But the Blockswap Labs team has put forward an idea for getting demand for the dETH token. And this involves setting a benchmark rate for all LSD tokens in the network, not just dETH, but also starting off with STETH and RETH. Basically, we'll give people the ability to have a stable rate token for the Ethereum consensus layer. And this could be valuable outside of just these stakers who want this consistent yield. It could also be used for protocols who want to have access to a fixed or a stable, something with a target rate, something that they can rely on. And the way that this can work is that there can be a pool of STETH and RETH and dETH, and that can distribute a separate token, which is being referred to now as this kETH token. And I can talk about it and explain it on and on with words that I believe a few of you have read through the proposal. There's something in the DAO for people to read and kind of get an idea of what's going on here. But there's also now a UI, and this UI, I will share it with you. But just keep in mind, this is early days with the UI. Things are certainly going to change, and there might be a few different things once it actually goes to, actually gets some sort of mainnet candidate or a testnet candidate, because we aren't exactly sure what exactly how it's going to react. So without further ado, here's what this UI could potentially look like, and I'll talk you through some of this stuff. This is based off of the temperature check that was shared in the DAO, and what could be done here. So somebody can come in, and it's basically a staking platform for all liquid staking derivatives. And right now it starts off with RETH and STETH, just because those are integrated with DeFi, but it can be expanded in the future to include all liquid staking tokens. So basically what somebody can do is they can come in and they can stake their STETH or RETH, dETH, and they can select whatever token they want here. And what they're able to do is stake and in return receive kETH. And kETH always gets this rate, this standard rate. So once people are in, again, this is just a Figma and it's very early days. I just wanted to share this with everybody since it seems like people are very excited to get the dETH, the demand for dETH up. What they can do with this kETH right away is then stake the kETH for BSN tokens. So it's kind of a two-sided staking, right? They stake their LSDs, they can get their stable rate, they collect their rate, but then on the other side, they are able to deposit this kETH and receive BSN rewards for it. Now, this can create some demand for people who have these LSD tokens, but on top of this, there's also this dETH vault, which specifically is for dETH holders who want to stake dETH as a single-sided way into this vault. They'll still get the set target rate, but this vault's used a little bit differently because it basically helps supplement and fill up the other kETH vault and to get the target ratios and get the set target yield because dETH is composable. And now when people want to get out of kETH, what they can do is they can simply burn their kETH tokens, and in return they get ETH or ETH equivalents. So it's very nice for people who want to get ETH denominated yield and not have to worry about holding on to a synthetic token or worried about getting a dETH token on the other side, and or getting a synthetic token when they come out. Because so as a lot of you know, the dETH is always redeemable for 1 ETH. It's always trackable to a single ETH within a single validator, which can't be said about these other LSD tokens. So what we can do is, kind of position this dETH as being 1-to-1 with ETH because it always is accountable 1-to-1 with ETH in the market or within a validator. So I see there's some conversation here. I'm just going to catch up. Yeah, Andrew, I see you have some ideas for kETH, or like this. You want to have some discussion around this. It'd be great if you want to come in here and share. I know you've been working on a few things. Share sort of what you've been thinking with all of this. Also, Matt, if you want to share a little bit more of the technical side of the LSD benchmark rate protocol, that would be great.
Yeah. So currently, sorry, it was just a bit cut off for a few seconds. LSD benchmark rate. So if you look at I think in Beacon Chain there's a staker offered rate. We were looking on a current benchmark rates available. Like, is there any any single rate that community is using? So Beacon Chain has this stakers offered rate. That has combined of in MEV and inflation rewards. It is from an inflation rewards perspective, it is very hard to come by. But even if you look at Lido or Rocket Pool, they're all combined with this kind of like the MEV and stakers. But we thought it would be ideal to take the Beacon Chain rate because that's mostly an open rate, and ultrasound money takes care of that rate. That takes that rate for some reason. So if we want to keep it that rate, we could have kETH very competitive, the rate that is combined with MEV and inflation rewards, but let alone having inflation rewards alone, right? The reason that we could achieve that is from a mixture of rebalancing of the basket assets. The dETH has this 33% extra for 24 tokens. But what we could have is a single. One of the problem is the moving average rate everyone is offering. It's a 7-day moving average, and it has this kind of further dilution when more people are joining. So if you're part of an LSD, let's assume that the LSD has like around 100 million, 200 million, and all of a sudden mercenary capital rotations happening post Shanghai, this can get really wibbly wobbly, right? The reason is like money will come in and goes off, and you will get diluted. It's just basically like you're in an LP pool, in a DeFi farming LP pool. You have no idea how much you're going to earn. So it's really important to have a single staked unit rate that we can give, regardless which token that you're depositing, and that's very important, right? STETH or RETH, you will be able to simply deposit both of these tokens and you get the kETH. kETH is the constant unit rate, and you can burn that for ETH. This is just interesting because you're not talking about liquidity issues, you're not talking about how much market is there. You can take your exposure to any of that LSDs out there, but When you burn it, you will get ETH in return, ETH and dETH, right? dETH is also atomically burnable per Shanghai. So you're basically any protocol, any user who want to take exposure, they're getting this kind of safe passage. And going forward, if the liquidity is good enough, we could also have multiple strategies on top, like a single swap. So you will actually not having, so just to, for example, STETH is like around, pegged asset for 997 something like an ETH. You take that in consideration for 5.3 in offered rate of a stake return. 10% goes off 4.7, but if you want to swap it, 0.997 for the dilution, then the slippage for the dilution. Here, now you deposit, you get KETH. When you KETH with, like, let's say 4% or 4.5%, whatever the fixed rate, when you burn it, you get ETH, and that's really nice. For the other part is like the KETH, the technical side is the dETH holders. Currently, the dETH holders are actually getting emissions from our BSN emissions, right, as a part of LSD deposits. But now the dETH vault comes in, you will get further emissions on top of it as a part of the KETH, whatever the tokenomics that DAO will accept it. You will able to deposit your dETH into the dETH vault, and you can get ETH back. So dETH is always 1:1. That's very important factor, right? So you can just basically sell your dETH for 1 ETH into a dETH vault, but you can stake it to the dETH vault. You can also get BSN and return the farming, whatever the emission that is accepted by that. So you can take that money, but you will always get ETH, same amount of ETH. So if you want to deposit your ETH into LSD, it will come as a dETH. You will earn more ETH from the inflation rewards, right? For some of the attestation rewards comes in, sync committee rewards comes in. So your ETH is accruing rewards over there. So you can get BSN token, and then you can exit to the ETH 1:1. On the other way, you can send your STETH or RE to the KETH vault. You still get BSN rewards over there too. So STETH holders and RETH holders are also getting BSN rewards if they are sending deposit into the KETH vault, and in return they get the KETH. They can burn that KETH for ETH, so 1:1, plus the interest. So it is protecting the LSD community as a whole, and also providing this kind of DeFi protocols to take a single unified rate. So protocols like Wolves, interest rate swaps, if you want to go for lending protocols, they all now have some kind of like single unit rate they can rely upon, and they can burn it for ETH. That's very important. And this is where the KETH is envisioning to bring to the market: atomic redeemability without looking on the liquidity problems around it. So no matter what the market is, you can always stake ETH, withdraw ETH on every LSDs.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really good thing to keep in mind with this protocol, is having that atomic burnability where you can actually always get ETH back, or dETH an equivalent of ETH, no matter what token you hold. No matter what LSD you have, you can go in here and you can always get ETH and not have to worry about the supply and the liquidity of these other tokens. It's just there, and it just becomes available to people. Is there any questions or comments from the community around this? I know some people have read the temperature check. Now we've shared some of the UI, and the DAO can decide how many tokens should be allocated to this. But I think that there's been a lot of good communication in the DAO channel about something like this, and I know that there's other solutions out there, but this is one that we have. Who will audit this? Matt, do you want to kind of speak to the security of this protocol and what's being done to make sure it's up to spec?
For the KETH?
Yes. What's going to be done for the security side of the KETH? And Andrew's also curious in ETA.
Yeah, so the KETH is a strategy contract, simple strategy contract. Is currently going through some testing, but what we're going to do is we're going to open source it. So everyone can take it when the testnet is open. It's currently deployed over V1 version in Gorley, but the UI is not ready. But we are still fine-tuning the strategies. So the core kernel is going through some of the testing, invariant testing, and everything internally, and some form of verification will be done. But it's going through continuous testing. So we haven't put up any kind of boundary or anything for this, but we'll make it open, and we'll take a continuous approach because it's a very simple strategy contracts, and as many strategies getting added, that will also be published. It's going to be a community repo. Currently, that we're going to also push all the securities and all the foundry tests and all the invariant tests. Everything will also be get published.
Yeah, and I think that it's a really good way to look at it is that this is the start of something bigger, and it's kind of like a yield farm focused on liquid staking derivatives and focused on the Ethereum blockchain and getting rewards from there, getting stable rates. And Ethereum is so great in the sense that it provides a stable yield for DeFi and the markets that has been proven reliable over the years. And now to actually build farms around it, and all of these LSD tokens are great to actually build around and develop strategies that people can use so they can get further, like deeper integration in DeFi. Great. Are there any other questions or comments? This is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover with everybody today. And yeah, if anybody has any comments, I know we've kind of covered a lot. We went through the PoN Relay. We talked about, so PoN Relay, just to kind of recap everything, PoN Relay is here in Testnet, and there's an incentivized Testnet ongoing. This isn't announced yet publicly. You guys are the first to know. But we will announce and start pushing more information on it after this call. We have the Fren Delegation coming, where people can stake on mainnet specifically to an individual validator, which is what a lot of people have been asking about. You can expect that in the next couple days, maybe next week. I don't want to promise timelines. And then we also covered this Zero ETH Club for community, the Ethereum community, to come into STAKEHOUSE and be able to source validators with Zero ETH. And we also covered now this idea of kETH and this LSD farming interface that strategies can be built from.
One thing to add on the kETH, in order to have that the ET answering that ET Andrew has it, we can push once the UI is complete, the testnet. But it would be it's very important to have how much we can allocate and what should be the strategies on the BSN farming and emissions for the mainnet deployment, because this really a very familiar territory of the DeFi protocols, and they can just basically take action, especially Shanghai is coming up. We need to have this DAO acceptance of the token emissions for the kETH before the mainnet. So from a deployment perspective, on the Gorley, it's pretty easy to do it. For the mainnet, yeah, we need the tokens to be approved by the DAO.
Yeah, that's a good sort of next step, Matt, that you've added for the DAO. And so from the lab side, this is going into production, and people will be able to vote if this is something we actually want to put to mainnet. But alongside that, there does need to be these BSN emissions that are both in line to the current tokens out there. It's in line with the current tokens being distributed, but also needs to incentivize people enough to want to use this protocol, to make them want to stake dETH, to drive this deep demand for dETH that people want to stake here. Because as we're starting off, the easiest place to get dETH is going to be by entering the protected staking pool.
Couple of questions on the chat, if I may.
Yep.
Right. So answering the couple of questions around the LST wizard. Um, LST wizard has an open repo on Stakehouse Dev. So we keep most of the things that we want to push as Stakehouse and LST related to this GitHub repo, right? Fren Delegation will also be public later today. We're just working on the mainnet configurations. That will also be public. The main UI for the LST dApp, that will become public once it is completed. So the reason is we have still need to push a batch staking for the Gurley, so that's done a month ago, but we did not include that in the release because the mainnet release has actually users are added a lot of other kind of like front staking and LSD direct deposit, etc. So we are finishing that, adding the batch staking coming in, which was a request in back in the December, but very complicated thing to take care of it. But we did that, so that will also be get added in the Gurley once the UI is complete in the V1, and we can TD up and refactor the code, and then that will also get published in a forking model for anyone to use it. So whole UI for the dApp will be public once it is matured. The only reason that we're not giving this a current model is like it will break and we don't want people to lose money. So once it is tested and we ironed out all the bugs and everything, so we can actually push it. The Fren delegation is much easier, so we're just going to push it later today. It's pretty simple. So those kind of things, whatever it is possible, safely push, we can push it. The SDKs, all feedbacks, really appreciate it. There were some issues on the Windows that's getting addressed, but I'm getting some DMs and I'll try to address that. We also try to increase the support level. The SDKs are already put in Stakehouse Dev, so you can actually if you want to raise a PR, please go ahead and raise a PR, anything related to the SDK. If you want to have anything more added there, please raise a PR, anything on Stakehouse Dev. If you cannot do anything on a PR there, just ask on Discord. We can add you there. It's the most public facing repo for the LST and Stakehouse. So these are the questions that I got on chat.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for covering those, Matt. I know our community has been very helpful in sharing any ideas and feedback that they have, and that's all more than welcome. We love hearing from the community. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions or comments that people have, we can go ahead and wrap up this call. We've taken up an hour of people's time. But we can always continue the conversation in the DAO channel or the general chat, and we can continue talking about what's sort of the best step forward and what are the next steps here, and we'll keep working on everything. So thank you, everybody.
Cool. Thanks.